Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's beautiful interview with the amazing Kai Ashley, who I will be bringing on in just a moment. So Kai is a spiritual success coach and a breathwork tapping EFT master. And as you would have seen, obviously, she is part of the Soul Journey container. She's one of the incredible expansion artists that I've invited into this space, and she has very graciously agreed. And she's been part of this container for quite some time. This is our second interview now to introduce you to her work, to what she's doing, and to what you'll actually come to expect from the kind of session that you're going to have with her in one of your months in the Soul Journey container. And and we'll also, I'd love to kind of touch on and share a little bit about, because this Soul Journey space has been going on for a little while. We've actually already had some clients go through this process, and just to share a little bit of the experience of, obviously, keeping the privacy of the client and everything like that, but just to give a bit of feedback on the kind of things that happen in these sessions and how powerful they really are. So I want to welcome Kai. If you want to come on, say hello, and just introduce yourself.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for having me again. So I'm Kai Ashley, as you know, and I'm an EFT breathwork tapping master. What that means is that I've transcended so much pain and misery in my own life, and along the way I've shared it with others. So way back when I started about 12 years ago, I had pretty serious PTSD where I'd get trauma triggers and was super sensitive, and this actually led me to getting rejected by people, and I would actually, and through the work I noticed that I was self-rejecting because I was expecting it, and it was so programmed in me from the traumatic experiences I had growing up. And with a mix of everything that happened to me, I developed a lot of chronic illnesses because I learned not to listen to myself. So I would just push my body and just do things that were out of alignment for me. So my body broke down. I had a nervous breakdown, a spectacular nervous breakdown back, I think, in 2010. And fortunately, though, I knew that it didn't mean I was broken. I knew that it meant that it was time for me to heal and change something. So one thing led to another, and I found a beautiful, very spiritual, lots of breaths and sighs and visualization type of tapping, and I just went deep into it and did hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a day and every week. It was just crazy. And so this led me to having all these spiritual experiences one after the other. And along the way, I started sharing it with people. Right from the get-go, people were telling me that they were having life-changing experiences from my sessions. And as I kept going, I started noticing that as I'm, helping people clear their anxiety and, all of their triggers, that their physical stuff was healing as well. So then I started focusing more on the physical stuff. Well, it's really a combination of the physical stuff and the purpose and the money, but then also love and relationships, because what happens with this work is I work on the atomic level. So it's not just choose a problem and then you heal that. It's no, we have these thought blocks, they're like solid blocks of energy that get stuck throughout your body that echo and control your behavior and bring up memories and opinions and beliefs and decisions. And it's like it puppets you from when you're a young child. And so we go in and we literally dissolve them, and we help you change your mind and see it differently. So it doesn't matter what it's about, whether it's, to do with love, money, your purpose, shame you have, whatever it is, we dissolve it and then we rebuild you from the inside up through this very intense and dynamic, breath work, vibrational experience. And you always feel so different. And from there, you make new choices and people start treating you differently, almost as if by magic. It's really weird. The amount of people that I've had, it's like a whole thing in this industry, actually. It's like when you forgive someone, then what will happen is often they will text you during the session or right after the session, or maybe within 3 days, but often during the session, they will literally text you to apologize, even though you haven't talked to them for months or years. And this is happens more than dozens of times. It's just like this done thing. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I help people just to clear any block in the way of their desire, help them to, get what they truly want and to love what they also have while also healing their body.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love how you explain that, because this is the reason why I invited Kai into this space, because I'm not new to EFT myself or breath work. I've done both of these modalities, and I know lots of people have done both of these modalities in different ways. There's a difference between, coming up across some people on YouTube and just tapping along with them and something like that. And of course, that's amazing that's where most of us start and where most of us kind of will find some sort of beginning stages. But Soul Journey is really about bringing you the best of the best, the masters in their field. And this is exactly how Kai works, because when she's doing the session, it's obviously it's everything combined. It's the EFT tapping, it's the breath work, it's her own coaching and her own understanding and her own intuition dropping in as well. But it's the way that it flows and the way that it processes, the way that she just explained, going through, like, releasing. That's the difference between, when you're trying to do it yourself or when you're trying to, do it in little bits and bobs, as opposed to having the guidance of someone who's so skillful at this, so experienced at this from years and years and years, and having gone through it themselves. That is when things shift so quickly, because, it's very rare in our lives that we have things like exactly what Kai's just mentioned in sessions, where it's just like, in that session, people are messaging, in that session, things are shifting. That doesn't happen very often for most of us these days, because we're just not able to get that deep and that transformative that quickly. And because it takes practice, right? It takes experience. And that's why it's just, so blown away and so grateful to you for what you do, because it's giving that opportunity to people to go deep and to actually feel, at the highest level, what is the transformational power of doing these techniques, of working through these skills. So you're not wasting your time, you're actually getting to straight to it. And that's incredible. That's one of the things I wanted to touch on was, throughout Soul Journey. So through previous clients that have gone through this and have had these sessions with Kai as well, obviously without, sharing any specific details for the client or anything like that, but to give you an idea of what some people have already experienced. We had a particular client who went through this. She became aware through the session of a particular object in her life that was actually like an emotional, anchor, that there was some really deep-seated emotions and issues still tied to that object that she had in her life, that once it came up and once it actually she became aware of it and was able to get rid of that object, she literally had a physical symptom that had been there for years, and that she had no idea how it started, why it started, anything like that. And after that session, it was entirely gone. She got rid of the object and those physical symptoms completely disappeared like that. And that's the kind of stuff that just, it blows your mind, because it's such a random thing to think about when we think about, how our bodies and how the objects that we surround ourselves by and the things that we use on a daily basis, how they're actually connected to us. And it would, it's not always easy to identify something like that and to figure it out, especially when it's an object that you might be, very fond of, or something that you use very often. You don't even realize how that's actually been, that's actually changed your energy and your blueprint, and how you're actually, suffering because of it. So that was mind blowing. And, that's exactly why this is, so powerful. I'd love to know, like, what kind of, maybe blocks are most common that people work with you around, or maybe is it physical symptoms? What's kind of a lot of the work that you do?
Excuse me. Well, it's such a varied bag, but it's a lot of it has to do with like money and life purpose stuff. Because what I found is that a lot of our physical symptoms are directly related to money and life purpose stuff. So if you keep getting this nagging calling that you want to be doing something, that you should be, creating or sharing or whatever it is, and you keep saying no to it, that will eventually cause physical symptoms in your body because you're saying no to life. So you're actually going, this sounds so a bit crazy maybe to some people, we're actually going towards death instead of life. And so your body starts to shut down, but there really is a lot of technological stuff to do with it. It's like we have these emotional toxins. So everyone's heard of cortisol, but what I've found is that we don't release the toxins from the guilt and the shame and the pain and the decisions that we make, that then we have thoughts that like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And, then you'll think, I'll never do that again. And then this will just start building and building and building because we're not actually releasing. We're not sighing and yawning and burping and stretching and shaking it out. Like, we're just not doing that. But you'll see in animals sometimes, if they go through a traumatic experience and survive, they'll like have a shake, like a big shake, and they'll like might look like they're having a fit for a bit. We're meant to be moving this energy through, but we don't. And so it just literally solidifies into an actual block, like ice turning into water, or like, dirt like being solidified into a big boulder. And so when I come in, it's like getting a big spiritual blow dryer and like melting that ice block, basically. But one of my clients, for instance, she came to me because she had a trauma trigger where she couldn't hear certain songs or see televisions shows without getting super triggered, and like she would get all shaky and weird, and it was very obvious. So we actually, and it was quite a weird one, like as in you wouldn't have been able to tell from the surface why she was triggered, but after a few weeks, actually, I was able to help her get through that. But then it turns out that she had sciatica. And so I said, well, I can help you with this. Why don't we just keep going? And she didn't actually believe it. That's the great thing about this method. You don't even really need to believe in it. You just need to be open to trying it because it's very physical. And so as we went through the journey to heal her sciatica, I can actually tap in and talk to the pain, because the pain, as I said, is conscious blocks of emotion, which isn't just like this floating energy. It's your actual thought processes coming together when you make decisions. So this lady, she'd been in an abusive marriage and she was moving furniture because he wanted her to. And she was like, what is this? This is like bullshit, basically. And so during it, she hurt her back right around the time she was deciding, I don't want to do this. I shouldn't have to do this. I hate being with him. I can't believe this. But she felt stuck in it and like she couldn't leave the marriage. And so then she got the sciatica, and for 9 excruciating years, she was in pain. The doctors said that she would have to have an invasive operation to maybe fix it. Now, fortunately, in that time, she was able to leave the guy because it was a very bad situation, but she didn't trust her decisions. She kept giving her power away to others, which means that she would do things that really went against her soul and felt bad for her, but she didn't know how to say no. So all of this like fear of saying no and this, what's the word, like shame, guilt, I don't know, whatever it is, that energy around like, I can't make good decisions, and this distrust, she couldn't trust herself to make decisions. It all just compounded into physical pain. And it went all the way down her leg. She had to lift her leg up to get into the car. She, in her own words, she would say that when she got out of bed, she felt like an old grandma because she had to roll out and get up really slowly. And it took like about a good year of continuously working on it. But after every session, she'd feel better. And just like having a shower where you don't expect to have a shower once and like that's it ever, you keep having a shower. And so we kept coming back in and doing the work. But the difference with my work and having a shower is as you keep doing it, it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's not just about dissolving the energy, just like that other client had to throw the object away. You have to make new decisions and stick to it. So I helped her learn how to actually say no to coworkers, which originally gave her like heart palpitations. But through our work, I was able to release the cortisol and all the stuff. And through that, she said no to coworkers and she quitted a job she hated. Then she started a business that she loved, all while we were healing her physical pains. And it was all meshed in with each other. Like it wasn't separate. So people think, I want to, they'll put up with like aches and pains and anxiety and stress while trying to make money or trying to, find a partner or get their dream body. But it's all the same thing. So when you go into the actual root of it, when it actually lives, which is, you know, where I say, like, I work on the atomic process, because we literally dissolve, like a butterfly going into a cocoon, we dissolve these parts of your body and then build them back up with like divine energy. And using the breath and the vibrations and moving it all through and changing your mind, like an advanced type of psychology, then everything in your life starts changing. You'll make new decisions. And yeah, I've already said all that. People start treating you differently and money will start coming in. You know, I actually had a client who did quite a lot of this work with me, and she had a very large six-figure inheritance released to her while her family was still alive. And this was 2 weeks after we did a session where she said, oh, I think, you know, this family member doesn't like me. And, you know, I feel really bad about it. So we did some work on that. 2 weeks later, he said, you know what, I'm going to release my inheritance to you so you know that you looked after it. It was a high six-figure amount, just out of the blue. And this is, wow, you couldn't guess that. All you can do is go in and do the clearing work, clear the blocks you have, the shame, the pain, the physical stuff, make new decisions, and then things just change.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the way that you explain that, because this is so key. And this is exactly why I invited Kai into this container, because there's so many aspects to transformation and to healing and to growth. And one of the ones that's sometimes very difficult to master is the somatic. Because, and that literally just means our body and how our body is actually holding different energies and different frequencies and different vibrations. And therefore what we're attracting, exactly like Kai said, that you know, we can spend so much time doing mindset work and just kind of that surface level stuff, which is incredible. There's a lot of power to that, and there's a lot of power to, you know, really deep, you know, subconscious work and unconscious work and all of this stuff and all the different layers. But our body is literally a holder of all of our memories of our entire life, of generations before us, of so many things. And when we're not aware of that, like Kai explained, like if you have all of that pent up in your body, it's going to manifest as physical symptoms. It's going to manifest in your relationships. It's going to manifest in your health. It's going to manifest in your fitness, in your money, in your career, in absolutely every area, because it's the root cause, right? And so that's one of the most amazing things that I love about this work, is that, like Kai said, it's just, it impacts everything. You have like one little thing, or well, one little thing that seems to have like taken root in all different areas of your life. And once you get to that, it's like a, you know, a free pass into every area of your life. You're like, oh, you get an upgrade and you get an upgrade and everybody wins a car, like that Oprah kind of thing. It's literally like that. And that's something that is really powerful, that the clients that have gone through Soul Journey have actually come back and said that the biggest lesson that they got, one of the biggest lessons, was discovering that they don't have to succeed in one area and therefore fail in another. They used to have this belief that, like, well, if my career goes amazing, then that means my love life has to suffer because I can't have both. And it's that realization that, like, no, when you're doing this right, when you're doing this from alignment, when you're getting the healing and the energy and the support that you need, everything lifts up together. One thing improves the other one opens up more options for another, and it's the whole thing rises, the whole lifestyle and every part of it rises. And that's the magic of, like Kai said, like you said, with the body and with the somatic work, is that it gets right to it. It gets right to the point, and it gets right to, okay, well, how what do we need to address here? What do we need to release? How do we need to move this so that things can actually start to lift from here? And that's, it's just incredibly powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And so many people, like, they feel like they should be able to do this on their own. And it is great to have a home practice. Like, it really is necessary. It's fantastic. But it just does not substitute having an expert to guide you to these places that it's literally impossible to go on your own. Like, if any healer gets to a stage like, oh, I'm a healer, I don't need anyone to help me heal, then they've blocked themselves. Because yes, we can actually have maybe more of a, we're better at healing ourselves for sure. But there's always a point where you need someone to come in and take you to those deep, dark places and those unconscious places that you can't even see because it seems so normal. Like, it's just like you never even question these parts of you because you think that's just how life is. And then someone shines a light on it, and then you see it was actually created because of some negative experience you had growing up. And then you can just change your mind about it. And this whole entire industry ultimately is just to get people to change their mind about how things work, while also healing and releasing the stored emotional toxins in your body. And then life changes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a blind spot because you're blind to it. Like, that's the whole point of working with others, is if you could see all of your own blind spots, they would no longer be your blind spots.
Yeah,
So therefore, like, we never need anybody else outside of ourselves, but that doesn't mean we don't get to choose it. And that's the really powerful thing, is having access to that, and having the access to speed things up as well, because that's the reason that I've put together people like yourself into this container, is because I said, okay, I'm going to find the best of the best in all of these different areas, because this is about quantum leaping. This is about speeding up the timeline. This is a 6-month journey that normally might take you several decades to go through the amount of work and healing and transformation. But that's not going to happen on your own, because you haven't got access to all of the the skills of literally decades and decades combined of everybody's skills and experience that you have inside of this container. So it's like, you don't need it. You can absolutely go and do it yourself. Nothing's going to stop you. You have everything you need inside of you. But why stop yourself? Like, go and choose to go faster. Go and choose to, fail forward, basically, faster and faster, figure it out. And then, you get to just get to the next stage that you want. And that was a big key part of this journey when it got downloaded through to me, was just, like, I've been through so much in my time. I've been through so many different coaches and different healing and different modalities and different support systems. And it's just key to me to realize that, well, when I get to work with the best of the best, things shift a lot faster. So I want to share all of these amazing individuals, because that's what I wish I'd had at the beginning, rather than having to sift through and figure out, who's good in this and who can support me in this. Why don't I just share exactly who I turn to and who I find so inspiring, and that's you. So that's really, really powerful, because just to touch back on one of the first things you said today was about your journey. And it's so funny because, like, I haven't been there from the very beginning, but I've definitely seen you over the years, and just your own energy and your own persona and presence and the way that you're embodied in yourself has changed dramatically just in the last few years since I've actually watched you and seen you. And like, that's incredible to watch, because one of the most powerful things is, always work with someone who you can see is still constantly evolving themselves. You never want to work with the person who thinks they've reached their maximum, like, this is me, I've peaked and that's it, because you are then always going to be limited. You're literally going to embody their energy of, that's it, I've maxed out. And to be able to watch, your coaches and people that you are really inspired by constantly evolve as well is so powerful, because there's so much power in that. And to know that you're stepping into that energy, that's the energy you're supported by, of just, constant and ever evolving transformation. So yeah,
I love it.
It's very powerful. Yes. All right. Well, I think we've covered a lot, which I really appreciate, because that's the point, is so that everyone can get to meet you, get to know how you work, what you're like, and so that way they already have a bit of a flavor of what you're like before they jump into their session with you. So thank you once again so much for taking the time, for having a chat with me. And for everyone who's going to come through to join us in Soul Journey, obviously you'll get your one-on-one session with Kai as well, and you'll get to experience all of this personally, which is just such a beautiful gift. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mwah.